We have just a few minutes for questions. I don't know if any have come in. Let me just check and see from you all. I have a few. For all of you here on the stage, does it make sense to, it's interesting because we have sort of the future view and we have the past view. Does it make sense to capture history? So when I worked at the UN, one of our big challenges is people are now documenting and making models of the Air Force Academy Chapel or of museum artifacts or of ancient Rome. And will those 10,000 years from now, that bore shaft I think will still be there. Hopefully the instrumentation too. It's very well designed, so I'm sure. But what about these laser scans? What about all of this data? What about this whole process of preservation? Can some of you talk to that? This challenge of, we're now digitizing everything, but stone lasts thousands of years, wood and paper hundreds of years, the medium, the hard disks and the CDs, tens of years, and the software in the single digits. So how do we get around this sort of fundamental problem? This is the big challenge, I think, inherent.
There is no doubt that we should digitize, in my opinion, because there are wars, there are tsunamis, there are earthquakes, there are acidic rains. We are losing our heritage all around. So we definitely should digitize today, if not for archiving for tomorrow, also as kind of a 3D blueprint for the future. The challenge is that file formats are changing, media is changing, and that is one of, at least from technology side in the industry, a big challenge that even somebody like Louise Leakey has to send me a hard drive via post of everything that was digitized, which is kind of contradiction in terms. But I do believe that there is a lot of value in us digitizing so that even today, not just for future generations, others can learn about places that they cannot go to, learn from them, learn about them.
It's a really interesting subject. We've got hundreds of terabytes of scans, and they're just filling up drives. But I can't bring myself to delete them. They're amazing, and someone always rings us up and goes, "Oh, I hope you scanned that." And 9 times out of 10 we have them, but occasionally there's one, and we're like, "Oh yeah, we've been there. We've got a scan of that. Just come round and you can have it." And there's that argument though that's twofold. One is that once it's scanned, and we're at a stage where we can scan things imperceivably from the detail of the real thing, what then happens to the real thing? Does that suddenly then, is that no longer relevant? Like, being able to scan the Arctic and the landscape out there, once it's gone, what happens now to that data? Does that suddenly start being used as the benchmark? And the other aspect which I find quite interesting about digital things is that, like you say, the software that we use won't be around in the future, and so I think a lot of things and the formats they're in is quite important. And I don't know anyone who's yet found a format for scanning which is future-proof, apart from maybe necessarily actually just printing out the numbers. I think that's the only foolproof way of archiving scans forever, is to print the numbers on paper, because that's going to last much longer than any piece of software ever would.
Printing the bits on pieces of stone and putting
The
them
XYZ.
in that bore shaft.
Or printing up a 3D object is,
That's what I was going to say was my mom worked in libraries as I was growing up. She worked in a medical library and a law library, and she did interlibrary loan. And so I know that things need to be maintained, and they need to be shuttled around for the people who need them. No one lets you go in a library and just says, "Oh, go enjoy, like go look for stuff." So things need to be maintained, but the difference between me growing up and now is that people do this and they author material and they maintain them and they correct them in a wiki format or in Google Trimble warehouse with people are authoring and making things and maintaining things that nobody would have thought would have happened before due to just social forces. So yes, they will become obsolete, but people will vote with their time and they will maintain the things that have merit that need to be maintained.
I think this is a fascinating subject. I would like to continue the discussion. Our crew here needs to wrap up, so we need to close now. But what I would like to encourage is we'll continue out into the lobby and people can continue this discussion with the panelists. And thank you very much for a very full day. It's been jam-packed. Hopefully you can start to digest some of this as you go off to dinner and drinks and so on with colleagues and friends. And bright and early tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., we have a whole nother amazing lineup of speakers and talks and exhibits. And then tomorrow in the evening, even more, a reception here in the hall. So thank you all for a wonderful day.
Thank you.